So, the topic for today is best, worst, and weirdest Navy experiences. Since we have a fairly substantial bank of those stories between us, this should be fun. However, before we get into this topic, I posted up that picture on Instagram this morning about my morning coffee thoughts. About how somewhere out there is a submariner in the Navy saying, Jesus Christ, y'all, at least you don't have to breathe recycled farts. Get some sunlight. um, I was thinking that when it comes to isolation, that sailors really do have some experience in that, especially when you're out on like a freaking rim pack or something like that, and you're out in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, you are basically stuck on a floating hunk of gray metal away from all of your family and friends, and you are stuck with these assholes. um, yeah, so with that in mind, my only deployment was to Bosnia, and that was the only thing that I had to deal with was the occasional risk of landmines, which that was, yeah, the base that.
Not insubstantial, if we're being totally honest about this.
And you want to know something really freaky? The base that I was on, I was stationed on Eagle Base in Tuzla, which is where which was I guess, the second base for like the U4 people. And
a quick question before we really kick this off. For people who haven't seen me before, do we want to do an introduction or something like that, or?
Oh, I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
Well,
yeah.
Sure.
Don't worry.
I'm just on board for the ride.
Yeah, don't worry. But yeah, the base that I was stationed on, like 2/3 of it had not been demined. There were like the wooden boardwalks and paths that you're supposed to stay on, and then there were fences that said "Caution, mines." It's like, we're living here. So, all right, for those of you who are just tuning in, who were not here for episode 10, well, about 10 episodes. Yeah, it was 10 episodes. Yes, I planned this, and one of my rare feats of foresight, I planned it so that it would be like another even number. I know, right?
It worked.
When I'm not getting unhinged over baked goods, yes, I do.
I heard the whole thing before she hit record. Trust me, it was something to behold.
Yes. Anyway, yes, I actually did plan this. So 10 episodes. My friend Steven, who you see here, he came on. Yes. He came on and we talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the internet. Well, since he enjoys the validation and gratification,
I just like being popular. Showing up.
Yeah. A little bit of an exhibitionist side, I guess, from the military, but so this week we decided that we would pick something of a more lighthearted topic. Little did we know.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yes. That we would actually need something more lighthearted. So we are going to be talking about our best, worst, and weirdest experiences.
I can't go anywhere anyway. I might as well hang out, drink, and talk with Shelby. All
right. And something that occurred to me is back to the whole thing about Navy folks knowing what isolation really is like. Since you have more deployment experience than I do, what are some ideas as for helping people to cope with being away from friends and family, or not being able to be in as close of contact as they would like?
Shit. Okay, yeah, God, there are about 1.5 million things. I'd say top on the list is frequent masturbation. I'm not even lying. Like, you may think I'm saying that for shock effect, but no kidding. Hacking it out, rubbing one out in your rack. For the ladies, I guess just DJing away. I know. I mean, the thing is that it releases tons of hormones. It relieves stress, and it is physiologically proven to help keep your body emotionally and hormonally balanced. So, not even lying. At least twice a week, rub one out. Just make sure that you're not caught, especially if you're a dude, because there are bad things that happen if you're caught. But you know, make sure you have some conditioner in the shower and just fucking spank one out. Okay.
All
Um,
right.
yeah, I'm just saying, if you're a woman, I've been told, just make sure you're not too loud, and that if you tend to be enthusiastic, put a towel down or something. But again, that's up to you guys. You can manage that as you see fit. So shock value things aside, how do you cope? Talk to people. Uh,
Okay.
that's honestly one of the biggest things that I found. It doesn't have to be anybody on board the ship, but whenever you have a chance, send an email back home. Um, have some friend at home that you can exchange emails with. Make sure you have that tie back to land, because the thing is that something like 75% of this world is it as water. And one thing that a lot of people who aren't sailors don't really realize is that it's fucking big.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really fucking big. I mean,
Yeah.
moving at flank speed at like not like full out all ahead full, but like moving at like high cruising speed. It can take a ship about a week to get from San Diego to Hawaii. Now that's only a 5.5 to 6 hour flight. Yeah, cool. But if you got to move, several thousand tons of warship and all the munitions and all the people and everyone from point A to point B, I mean, just from San
Yeah.
Diego to Hawaii, it takes a week. There are parts of our oceans where you're outside of the shipping lanes. You go down, no one will ever know for a month. Like when you're out on the blue, it can get lonely, it can get tiring, it can get really monotonous. One of the biggest things that really helped me out when I did my first shipboard deployment was when Kindles were actually becoming really popular. So, I did a couple of sail arounds where they weren't really that accessible, so I had to take books, and I was able to take like 9 or 10 books.
Mm-hmm.
But books are fucking heavy. They take up
Yeah.
a lot of room. When you have literally a 24-inch, maybe 30-inch by 6 feet space, that's 5 or 6 inches deep to fit everything that you own for the next 6 to 8 months. Books are really, really real estate expensive. So one of the
Yeah.
things that I found was awesome was I took a so on the first sail arounds that I did, I had like nine or 10 books. My full deployment out, I took a library. I I took probably about 400 books, and
Yeah.
it was because I could just sit in my rack and I could read. Now that that works for me. I love to read. I'd say what else to cope with being out there is try and be patient. Understand that a lot of people are going through the same shit as you. Understand you're going to be up in each other's shit all the time. Okay, when I was out there, I was on a destroyer. Okay, our total crew was about 285. With the air net on board, we were about 330 people. Uh,
Yeah.
Air net is the air detachment, so they're the people who fly and maintain all the helos. And I mean, not for you. I know you know, but for like everyone else.
Yeah.
But you're 330 people, and you're stuck on a gray container 510 feet long for 6.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck, because you are up in each other's business all the time. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'd say be flexible, understand other people, understand, try to be flexible and understand that other people are going through the same shit as you. If you can, get somebody to send you care packages from home. My wife is the fucking queen of care packages. She would walk into a fucking Whole Foods. I shit you not, clean it out. I would get care packages that were like 2 by 2 by 3 feet. It's a single box, and it's full of like $400 of like salamis and truffle cheeses and mustards and like caviar and she would just send ridiculous care packages to the point where it's like I think a lot of the shit because I couldn't even eat all of it before it went bad. Yeah. So like I didn't stand and watch for 2 months. It was great. uh, you know, because there's also a black market on board for goods in exchange for favors too. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, rub one out. Make sure you talk to people, even just send emails back home. Try and be patient. Bring plenty of books. I'd say fundamentally as well, like understand that you're part of the elite. Which sounds really weird to say, but something like 0.1% of our country is even eligible to join the military. Yeah, what's the net do? So out of something like 350 million people in the population of the United States, something like 250 million of them are somehow cool or in the age bracket, and we're looking at a military force for the Navy of what, 320,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you look at our specific job field, it gets that much smaller too.
Yeah, exactly. You look at what you and I do, and it's about 15,000 people total. Yeah. And that's all of our race, not just our specific breakdowns, but that's like all of our race. So the thing is that it can get really fucking lonely out there.
But definitely look for and find your community if you don't have one already.
Yeah, and communicate back to shore whenever you can, even if you're at Condition River City. Still write those emails back home, because even if they don't leave the ship immediately, they're still cathartic.
Yeah.
I would also say enjoy your fucking shore live. Don't go out with people who are like, I can't tell you how much I fucking hate these people. It's just like, we're pulling into Malaysia or Oman or Singapore. I can't wait to find a fucking Starbucks and a McDonald's. What is wrong with you stupid fucks? It's like we'll be in like Oman, or we pull into Bahrain or Malaysia or wherever, fill in the fucking blank, and these people are like, dude, I found me a Starbucks and a KFC, and I'm like, but what? What's wrong with you? I'm not even asking hypothetically. I need to know what's wrong in your head right now, because there's something physiologically wrong with you at this point. If we're in like Saipan and you're looking for a Mickey D's, what's going on, buddy? Because we need to talk, and if you legitimately want to do this, we can't be friends anymore. At least not Liberty buddies anymore, because at this point in time, I didn't go halfway around the goddamn world to eat a fucking shitty ass cheeseburger. Okay, he's like, sorry, not my goal, not what I'm after. I don't fucking care. Okay, you can have your Starbucks, cool. I'm going all the way over here to where my tour guide is saying there's some great local food, and I'm going to eat there. So yeah, I would also say team up with people who actually are aligned with your interests when you go on shore live. Because if you're the only one who wants to go explore the local culture and everyone else wants to go to the local mall, you're going to be dragged along with them, and you're going to fucking hate it. And I know this because it happened. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could honestly talk about this forever, truth be told. I mean, does that more or less answer the question?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, but above all, remember, number one, whack it out.
Yeah,
Whack it up.
that's going on a t-shirt.
Do it. Do it. Number one, we'll hack that shit out. Masturbate. Yeah.
So our main topic that we have, now that we've gotten ourselves, shall we say, warmed up.
Sorry. What?
So we're going to talk about best, worst, and weirdest Navy experiences. And well, I was in for 12 years before my career came to an unceremonious end.
I'm
Jerk off option.
still fucking pissed off about that.
So
Not for you, for them.
thinking about the good parts first. Well, I would say that one of the best things, one of the things that I'm proudest of, I had to think about what makes me proud, what did I accomplish, and what were some things that were just really fucking funny. One of the things that I was really fucking proud of is that as the self-proclaimed fat kid, I still managed to graduate from SEER. And what people don't realize is that being 5'6" and 160 pounds of fuck you can get you through quite a lot.
It's a true story.
There were I did my training with some of the Air Force's pararescue guys, and they were surprised at some of the shit that I was able to put up with in there. I was like, you have no idea. So that is something that I would say is, though, that I'm perhaps the proudest of, was finishing SEER school. Because because knowing how small the military is, not everybody can say that they've done that.
Yeah.
So yes, in addition to my incredibly foxy appearance and all of my other skills, I know in theory how not to die in the woods. So folks, line up. I'm taking applications.
The line forms to the left. I'm just saying. Okay.
So I was thinking about what were some of the funny experiences, and I'm not gonna lie, a lot of it was like choir stuff. A lot of my time in the military was spent in choir. That was one of my collateral duties. And anyway,
you see flashbacks, yeah, coming back, yeah.
So
You're for what? I said it. Oh, it's good.
So the stuff from choir that does not involve her.
Sorry, I'm good, man.
Yeah. Let's see here. One of the things that I thought of was in Maryland, our choir, because of our beneficial relationship with the local AA baseball team, the Bowie Bay Sox, they happen to be the Orioles. They happen to be the Orioles farm team in the area. And we sang for them at a number of their games, the anthem and like seventh inning stretch and things like that. And because we were on such good terms with them, you all right there? Kind of messing with your hair a little bit?
No, just it kind of itches because it's growing out because it's a really shitty haircut. So I'm just kind of like.
All right. Yes, for people who are only hearing this over audio, we had a kind of like a little bit of like a head scratch almost with like fleas moment there. So yes, and he is giving me the finger. Anyway, so because of our good relationship with the Bay Sox, they actually put in an in with the entertainment coordinator of the Orioles.
Oh,
and
shit.
So yeah, we got to sing the national anthem for the Orioles in August.
That actually, yeah.
Yeah. And their pitcher, Zach Britton, actually comped us a box.
Yeah.
So we went out there and we sang. It was in August of like 2013 or something like that, or 2012. And
2013, because I was full blown LPO at that point, and I had a couple of my guys actually join you.
Well, we had our nice little seats up in the box level area. And after we sang, we went up to enjoy the game and had some food. And then because it was still technically summer, all of us were still in our dress whites, which is pretty fucking distinctive, right? Somebody, the person running the audio for the ballpark, saw a bunch of sailors sitting in the stands and started playing YMCA. And we heard that opening fanfare, you know, the ba ba ba.
Yeah, I knew more
And
alcohol.
and we all looked at each other, at least the choir people did, because we were a bunch of fearless nerds. And we looked at each other, we nodded, and we all stood up. And we were even doing like the dance moves to it also. And I distinctly remember when we stood up, Master Chief Drenning was sitting in the box behind us, the command master chief, the senior enlisted officer of our unit. And I distinctly remember him saying, "God damn it." And then laughing. And we did not get reprimanded.
Win.
I'm sorry?
And I said, sorry, Master Chief, sometimes you just don't win.
And he just was laughing.
Yeah.
And so we did the whole thing, you know, like the whole white thing, and then of course like the dance moves and all that.
Yeah. For those who are not actually seeing this, she's like really awkwardly trying to do the YMCA dance with her left hand holding a drink and her right hand only actually doing the movement. So it's kind of like a really foxy cyberpunk vixen having a small seizure on camera.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome, sweetheart. I'm always here for you.
I guess that's what I get for making that comment about your hair. That was one of the other, no, that was one of the fun moments. And then when we were riding back in the van from another event, we did a spontaneous sing off where somebody would, you know, pick a song that they knew and then start singing it from heart, and then everybody else would join in.
Okay.
So when it came my turn, they weren't sure what I was going to do because I'd cultivated a certain reputation as being generally well behaved. I know, big surprise.
I
imagine their surprise, and my voice is a little bit rusty because I haven't sang in 5 years. So I just piped up with, "I see you riding round town with the girl I love," and I'm like, "Fuck you." That's really bad, I know, but it was a lot more in tune.
It's actually not bad, but see, I always love to confuse people because I go up to them and I'm like, "I see you riding around town with the girl I love," and I'm like, "Haiku."
So there was this silence after I let go with the first "fuck you." And I continued going.
Nice.
And so I went with the whole thing, and though there's pain in my chest, I still wish you the best with the "fuck you." And to this day, if I really want to startle the fuck out of my students, I'll sing that in class.
Nice.
Or I'll try, or I'll sing along.
My game wasn't strong enough. Fuck you.
Because I look pretty until I look pretty buttoned up until I open my mouth.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So if you want a bunch of,
you can convince me of this.
If you want, I'm telling this for everybody else, not you.
I know.
If you want a bunch of football players to go dead quiet, just be someone who looks like me chiming in with CeeLo Green.
Which is always fun.
Yes.
By the way, if you haven't heard it, you need to hear the Sarah Bareilles version of that.
I will take that under advisement.
It is glorious.
So that's what I think of when I think of the best times of it, is not necessarily the work, although the work itself can be incredibly satisfying. In our line of work, we really can't talk about the work.
Sure we could. We just end up in jail soon.
In breaking large rocks into smaller rocks. Or, yeah. So.
Right. Yeah. Rocks into small rocks. That's all we do.
Yep. So I would say, as I enjoy not being in jail, we won't talk about that. So I will say that as satisfying as the work was, we really can't talk about it openly. So you have to find the things outside of it that made it fun.
I mean, we can talk about some of the effects, because like I will say one of the yeah, I think one of the best things about being in the Navy for me, in all honesty, is like I would say one just kind of the 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 camaraderie,
Yes.
like the sense of teamwork. If you really hook up with a great division, with a great team, and you have people that legitimately understand that, it is. I hate to say fraternity or sorority because it's not either one of those. It's deeper because you're all people who volunteer to go into dangerous situations together and protect each other to accomplish a common goal. Fraternities and sororities don't do that.
Not necessarily, no.
You have to pay your dues and then abide by the rules. Which, yes, okay, we have rules, fine, but kind of one of the best examples I think of just kind of having that great team of people on call would be back in 2015. You remember that Kate and I had our house fire about 5 years and a month ago ish.
Yep.
So for those of you who are not familiar, my wife and I we used to live in Crofton, Maryland, and I was stationed overseas. I came back for my grandmother's funeral. Fucking the day after her funeral, I shit you not. We drive back from Connecticut, and then that evening, I light a fire in our fireplace. 10 minutes after that, we're sitting outside watching the goddamn house burn. Okay, we all got out alive, but with some pretty bad injuries. Cake got burned. I had some internal shit. But fast forward to about August of 2015, and the house has mostly been rebuilt. We're buying all of the furniture and shit, and like all the appliances, and it's like a Thursday, I think, and our fridge arrives, and our contractors were at the house. Okay, I'm still working in five. I get a call and like, hey, your fridge is here. We can't get it into the kitchen. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean you can't get it into the kitchen? So the contractor, a guy by the name of Greg, is there, and it's him and like one delivery guy who dropped it off, and then the two of them hold it up about 4 steps, but then they realize that it won't fit through the doorway into the kitchen. Now, keep in mind, you remember this, Chubby, that like it used to be a solid wall just to the left when you walked in the front door. Well,
Mm-hmm.
we had that cut off to a half wall to just kind of open up the whole space. Okay, which was really nice. So I'm like, all right, fine, hold on, I'm on the way. 15 minutes, I pull up at the house and I see the fridge like in the front, in the front entryway. Okay, all the drawers are out. They pulled off the fucking doors. They took off like literally everything that they possibly could. They pulled it off of the fridge, and it's not fitting into the kitchen doorway by about like a half inch.
Oh.
And we're like, fuck. So then I stop in, I look at myself and Greg, the delivery guy's gone, and I'm like, well, why don't we just lift the shit up over the half wall here? And he's like, okay, I guess I could call a couple of my guys. It's gonna be a few. I mean, like it's gonna be like at least an hour. So I'm like, hold on. So I pull out my phone, call back to the office, and I'm like, who's still there? And it's like, we got Rodriguez, Martinez, we have Martin, and blah blah blah. They list off like 5 or 6 people. So I'm like, okay, cool. There's a 6-pack of beer for anybody who can be at my house within a half an hour. I have to lift the fridge over a half wall. And this BM2 that I was talking to, coolest cat in the fucking world, is like, I was. It goes, Yo, who wants a beer? Wyckoff needs some help with his fridge. And I hear like 9 voices Roger up in the background, like, yeah, man, what kind of beer we're talking about? Blah, blah, blah. You know, so I'm like, just tell the motherfuckers to get here. I'm gonna grab a few 12 packs, okay, and whoever shows up can take 6, okay. And they're like, yeah, man. So I'm gonna grab the gummy. We're gonna have like 6 of us. Would that be okay? And I'm like, I'm grabbing 3 12 packs of beer. You guys can divide it up however the fucking hell you want. He's like, yeah, okay. 1 second. I'll have the keys. We're on the way. I shit you not. 22 minutes afterward, he shows up with a van full of like BMs, ACs, CTs. You know, there's a PJ in there for some reason. I don't know why. And like 6 dudes pile out of this van, and so Greg, the contractor, is like, what the fuck, man? I can't keep my guys here this fast, and I'm paying them. And I'm like, fucking Navy, bro. So we walk in there, and we just put 3 people per side. We lift the damn fridge up. It goes up over this half wall, okay? They start putting the doors back on. A couple of the BMs go into the cavity where the fridge actually was going into. These assholes pull out pens and some Sharpies, start drawing dicks all over the wall on the inside. I shit you not. They're drawing dicks all over the inside of my wall. And they're like, look, the fridge is going to block it all off, and we wanted you to remember us. And I'm like, fuck you guys. What the fuck, man? So they put all the doors on, they put the back grate, they put all the like drawers, everything. They reassembled this entire fridge. I shit you not, like 3 minutes flat. Plug it in, draw a few more dicks, push it back into the slot. The contractor, Greg, is just standing there and his jaw's on the fucking floor. He's like, holy fucking shit. And I'm like, yeah, bud, this is the goddamn Navy.
Yep.
I mean, this is like at its best, this is how we do things. Like
camaraderie, beer, and dick drawings.
It's like there's a fucking sense of teamwork. We're gonna screw with you, not too hard, but the job's got to be done as fast and as well as it could possibly done this side of hell.
Yep.
Yeah. And like that, I think is probably one of the best things about the Navy that I found is that like if you set the team up right, and if you're the LPO or the chief, and you set the team up right, there's nothing that you guys can't do. You know, 20 minutes, we had like guys leaving the office into a gummy van, showing up, lifting their fridge up, putting it back together, 14 penises drawn, and in place, cooling down. You know, and it's like, holy shit! Like it legitimately took less than a half an hour, and all this is done. And like if I relied on the contractors, it would have been at least a couple hours.
A couple of hours and no penis drawings.
And no penis. Yeah. So that's the nice thing about the Navy is that you can always be assured you're gonna get the dick somehow. You know? It's true. You know? Straight, bi, gay, you're gonna get dicked. You know? It's gonna be lighthearted and fun, or it's gonna be really hard and brutal, but it's gonna happen. You know? Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, like I'd say that's probably one of the best things. I mean, just on the camaraderie side, I'd say work side. You know, truth be told, I can legitimately say I've played a personal role in changing the course of countries. You know, I legit can't get into the details, but it's like there's shit where I've been part of some operations and we saw it on the news the next day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, okay. And there is this sort of kind of, I'd say, lonely pride in that, where it's like you can talk about it amongst your teammates. Yeah. And you can talk about it with the people that were involved, but you're never going to be able to discuss it with anyone else. And I say this is also part of one of the worst things as well, is that, you know, especially in our line of work with what we do, you can take pride in knowing the change that you enacted or you helped to enact, but you can't tell anybody.
And that kind of segues really nicely into the some of the worst aspect of it, right?
Yeah,
Because you can't really talk about it, and that means that when you have a bunch of dumbheaded chuckle fucks who start who start going around with their internet PhDs talking about what the intelligence community does or does not do.
you gotta sit here like, no, you stupid shit. No, that's not how it works. It's not how any of this works. And I'm gonna need you to return your degree from Facebook University, okay? Because
And
you legitimately don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
so they don't understand that, and we can't exactly explain why. Because the simplest part of it is that is that the work is a lot more involved than people think.
Yeah, and
And we do have a lot of skin in it, sometimes literally. And when incidents like that
I've
happen,
lost
people,
some. Is that I've lost some. Yeah,
yeah. So when incidents like that happen, there are people who we know, respect, and sometimes even care about deeply who run the risk of getting hurt or killed.
hmm
So that's one of the,
I personally have had people that I was for friends with that got burned, and two of them have been MIA.
yeah.
Like they're presumed dead at this point, but we just don't know.
And
And that
that's
is
one,
the worst side of it as well. Is that a lot of people, and we're getting more towards the IC side of things rather than the Navy. But like what a lot of people don't understand, I'd say about the Navy or even the military in general is that it's not all the commercials, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
Like it's not all hearing, you like U.S. Navy accelerate life. With like cut shots of CIC, not, a lot of it's just sitting on a watchboard out of your fucking mind.
It's more office space, really.
Yeah, except when it's not, and then once the
Yeah.
bullets and the missiles begin to fly, or like the work that I did when I was out in Bahrain the last time, I worked as essentially somebody who helped to find the bad guys, and
Yeah.
the thing is that helping to find the bad guys is very gratifying, but it's also very trying because with a lot of the information that you see, I wouldn't say you form a connection, but you see every one of the targets that you're tracking as a person.
Yes.
You can't really not do that, you know. And so then when you pass the information on to coalition partners and they hit the wrong target,
Yeah.
there's a certain amount of grief that you feel there. This is actually what's called second and third person trauma in terms of PTSD. You
Yeah.
know, um, first person is it happens to you, obviously.
Yeah.
Second person and third person is either you see it happen to somebody else, or it happens to somebody that you know. And this is why I always had an issue with a lot of the guys who would pull up the strike videos and things and be like, "Oh yeah, man, you see that leg go flying there?" And it's like,
It's like, that's a person, you
that
bastard.
that was a person.
Yeah.
It's like, and I would definitely say that as part of just the military in general, that is one of the hardest things, I'd say, slash worst things, in the sense that if you're conducting combat operations, it's difficult to retain your humanity. Word. But it's also difficult to make sure that your team retains its humanity as well, because you know a lot of people think that the job of the military is to kill, and it's not. The job of the military is to accomplish the assigned mission.
Yeah.
And very, very often that mission is to protect certain U.S. interests, U.S. allied interests, or self-defense. Now, often that does involve combat ops, and often that does involve killing the bad guys. But one of the things that a lot of people tend to misunderstand about the military or the Navy, specifically in this case, is that our job isn't to it's not to go and kill people. It's to get done the assigned mission and job. If we can pull up and point a gun at somebody and they surrender and that's all we needed, then perfect. That is the perfect war. That's the perfect. Okay, if it goes, I need you to stop doing this. You need to calm down. Put your shit down. Put your hands up. Turn around. Get on the ground. Hands behind your back. And if they do this and we don't have to fire a shot, perfect. That is my ideal engagement. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't always happen that way, and that does lend into a little bit of the darker side. You need to be comfortable with violence and death because we're in rough work and we do rough things.
And that said, no matter how comfortable or I would say accustomed you get to it, because you can never truly be comfortable with death.
Well, there are some people like that who are. They're truly terrifying people, and they need to be behind locked doors in a padded room.
I would say that no matter how accustomed you get to it, when it's someone you know, that makes it that much harder. Because in 2010, right when I got to language school for the second time around, I got a phone call saying that one of my cousins, who was a warrant officer and a ranger and a helo pilot in Iraq, had gotten shot down, and everybody on his helo had died.
Yeah.
And yeah, I actually went to that was in 2009, because in 2010 I transferred to Maryland just in time for his service at Arlington.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've actually been to a service at the National Cemetery, and it is fucking difficult when it's someone you know that's in a box.
Yeah.
And when you are trying, I don't even remember a lot of details of that service, but I remember that it was raining and that there was mud, and I could see out of my peripheral vision the mud oozing onto my shoes. And trying to keep that perfect military bearing and trying to keep that perfect angle in your arm for the salute while they're playing taps. And that's really...
It's pretty damn near impossible.
Yeah, like I was doing my best not to cry. And yeah, so that's one thing. You have the hazards of combat. Also, people don't understand that, yes, there is the camaraderie, but just because you're in this together doesn't mean that there aren't a lot of evil sons of bitches in the military, too.
Yep, the order of, what was it that I came up with the other day? It was, there was one dude who, and just to take this in a slightly lighter bent here, there was a guy last Thursday. We're all in fucking lockdown. So I'm talking 2 days ago. We're all in lockdown here, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're all like work from home. There's this dude, brand new PO1, trying to prove his worth to everybody. We're all in
dear God.
Oh, you know where this is going. Okay, we're all in the fucking Facebook group chat right now. Keep in mind, for my division, I have 2 chats. Okay, there's the official one that has everybody. There's the official one that has everyone. So it's like all the chiefs, the division officer, all the E6 and down. Okay, and then there's like our shenanigans chat room.
Shenanigans. Yes.
Yeah, which is the E6 and down.
Yes.
So there's like we kind of bullshit, post the funny memes, blah blah blah. This one dude, fucking, he's in the main, and we're trying to work out like how we can do like some GMT, right? and so he comes in, and so there's one chief who's like putting out all this information. And it's like, okay, so guys, at this point, we're going to have to do the honor system. And he pops in like, Chief, hey, Chief, you do a Facebook group chat, pull us all into it. You can read the training out loud, and then there's like this minute-long pause. In the shenanigans chat room, I'm like, Petty Officer, blah, 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 I hereby bestow upon you the rank of knights in the glorious order of the Blue
Falcon. Yes.
Thanks, buddy. You always were there for us. But you don't say that shit to a chief because they're gonna run away with it. What did you do? And he's like, I just want to make sure that we give the training to LPO. And I'm like, no, you just I'm not saying we don't need to get this done, but like you right now, sir, are a solution in search of a problem. Okay.
It's
Like
like put it's like
you're
put
trying
it's
to
like
find shit to solve to make everyone aware that you're still here and we just put on first class. We know you just put on first class. You don't have to remind us of this. Okay. But yeah, like you were saying, every unit's got the goddamn one who's just like, you motherfucker, I swear to God, I'd blanket party your ass if I wouldn't be guaranteed in JP at this point. Okay,
and
thanks,
it can be
Al.
something it can range from annoying to actually harmful.
Oh yeah, no. Well,
Yeah.
I will say with a lot of the technical teams that I've worked with, and with a lot of the shit that I did in the Middle East, if there's a whiff of that fucking coming up, I kicked you off the team. I literally I removed you from the team, and my chief he had my back. He let me run the ops side of things completely. He did all the admin, so I could run all the ops. And like if I went to him, I'm like, yeah, blah 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 is off the team. I want him on the watch for. He's like, all right, cool. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna have him back here. Just is not gonna happen. Like we all have to learn as one harmonious whole. And if this one motherfucker is out for himself, I'm not gonna have him here. And he's like, all right, cool. I'll do the paperwork. I'm like, thanks. But like he's leaving now. Like he left for lunch. He left the office for lunch. He's gonna go to the watch floor after lunch. And she was like, all right, cool. I'm like,
Well,
it's like I didn't expect that kind of support, but yeah, all right, thanks.
just to move things along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we can do
So
this all fucking night.
yes, we could. There's quite a lot that we could
And
go on.
house, we could have those house parties.
But so
Like
going
a
on to the weirdest.
not a mindless eating machine. If I have
Fish
to
are
change
friends,
this,
not food.
if I have to change this image, I must first change myself. Fish are friends, not food.
So I was thinking about my weirdest experiences, and so much of that happened not. Oh, so much of that happened at language school for me. For during language school at the Defense Language Institute in Monterey, California. Uh,
I'm sorry about that.
huh?
They tore like some really important barracks.
Yeah. Because they're trying to modernize the facilities there. They decided to tear down. Oh, they're tearing down some of the. Oh, some of our. It's like a piece of our culture at this point because every
Yeah,
junior sailor lived in that barracks.
yeah,
These are the barracks on the base that have been around since, God, I want to say at least the 60s.
yeah. About
And
like late 50s, early 60s. I thought.
and going back to my choir nerd days, we would sing in the stairwells of those barracks during Christmas time because the acoustics were beautiful. And you would have like a 20-person choir singing a 9-part arrangement of Oh Holy Night. We would
That's
we would go,
amazing.
we would go around during Christmas time for everybody who was still on base, and we go to the different barracks of the different services. And we would sing for everybody who was still in the barracks and for the people who were on duty, keeping an eye on the barracks. And so we would always bring out Oh Holy Night with that 9-part arrangement. And when you got to Fall on Your Knees, that sounded like a full angelic choir. You had 20 people and it sounded like 50. And then we would always end it with the service song of whatever barrack of the whatever branch we were singing for. When we were in the army barracks, of course, the thing with the caissons go rolling along. Then we sang for the Marines. And of course, you know that the moment they hear from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, boom, they all stand up.
Like E1s, E2s pop into in their barracks room, no one else around, but they are at attention.
Yeah, we were singing in that stairwell, and we were singing, and we looked up, and there were people sitting there like on the edge of the stairs, leaning on the railing with their feet like dangling into that central air shaft and we had quite an audience. And then the moment we tore into From the Halls of Montezuma, boom, everybody stood up. You could hear people standing up through the entire barracks.
Yep, those are the Marines for it.
But yeah, bunch of stone cold crazy bastards, but they
All
can
right.
be really good to work with.
No, I
Anyways,
see them out in Bahrain. Fucking smart motherfuckers.
yes, they are. On to the weirdest. Speaking of that barracks that got torn down, I don't know how many hours I spent on watch as an E6, basically being barracks mom while I was there for overnight, while I was waiting to get into my Russian class. I got to spend a lot of shifts overnight, basically making sure that nobody set anything on fire, tried to sneak anyone in there that shouldn't, such so forth, etc. Basically, no general miscreantism. The downside is that the Defense Language Institute, it also has the nickname of the Desperate Love Institute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you have a bunch of
As
horny
a Torrey High graduate, I can attest.
and it's basically a bunch of horny ass teenage nerds coming out of boot camp who are finally remembering that they have genitalia and that other people have genitalia and they want to do something about it.
It's more like.
So I remember one night I was sitting there in the room where we do our watch operations. And my roving sentry comes in, and her face is an interesting shade of pink. And I said, what's going on, Seaman Jones? That's not her last name, but I'll just say for this. What's going on, Seaman Jones? You look a little bit ill. And she said, petty officer, you might want to go to the study hall. Why is that? There's something going on in there, petty officer. She didn't go into that. So I was like, okay, stay here. I'll handle this. So I left. I had my big like 4D cell mag light flashlight that I carried with me, you know, as both flashlight and billy club. They're handy like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I sallied forth through the barracks into the study hall, which, by the way, when I was a junior sailor and an idiot, I had managed to break a window in that study hall. But that's yes, I look innocent until I open my mouth.
No, you don't even then. Not learn what you are now.
So I went into that study hall, and it was quiet. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's on the weekend. There are some people who are ostensibly studying, namely, you know,
Each other.
no, there are people who are at the tables reading or looking at things on their laptops or doing whatever. And they do their best to look like they're behaving. I don't see anything that's out of the ordinary. So I do my rounds. I do my rounds, and then I notice.
Face when you just caught it.
I notice that I look down on the ground as I pass one of the study carrels. And I notice that there are two pairs of legs underneath one of the study carrels. And, well, so for all of you who have seen The Witcher by now, there's that episode that has the orgy in it, right? And you have Geralt dragging Jaskier by the scruff through this room that has all of these people doing their things in it. And just the look on Geralt's face, yeah, I watched that. I was like, dude, I know how you feel. I looked down, and these people were, from what I could tell, they had the essential clothing on. But they were kind of, you know, like twined together. And I cleared my throat. And I said, excuse me, nothing.
Ow, fuck.
No, let me tell the story. And then I kind of nudged them a bit with my foot. It's like, guys, nothing. And then I tried to tap one of them on the shoulder. For the love of fuck, do not make me touch you, by the way. I'm generally not a very touchy person. Don't make me touch you. Nothing. Even when I shook their shoulder. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I was like, if you people are gonna be like this, I balled up my fist and just bam right on the desk, right above their heads. And they rocketed right up, whacked their heads on the desk. There was probably a
There we go.
concussion. And I told them, both of you with me to the quarterdeck now. And they got to do the walk of shame in front of all of their buddies with me for me to write them up.
Nice.
So the long story short of this is, if I'm not against people, like doing their thing, getting your groove back, whatever you want to call it, even though I'm in a bit of a dry spell. I'm not. Yes. Yeah. For the love of Pete, don't do it where somebody actually has to try and separate you, or else I will embarrass the fuck out of you, for one, and I will probably give you a concussion.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I think probably my personal favorite catching people, like, it wouldn't necessarily be like the weirdest moment in the Navy. Like, the weirdest moment in the Navy, I would have to say, is being ordered to do clamp down while in the rain on board a ship. Like,
Okay.
go sweep the water off the deck while it's actively raining. And I remember I stopped and like, have you ever heard that whole parable that's been going around online, where it's just like, what's the army like? Except you can just cross out army, put navy, and it's like, imagine that you and your entire, and it's a squad, but put division in there. That you and your entire division are ordered to eat this big bowl of soup, right? Okay, and so your LPO walks in and hands out a fork to everyone and says, "Hey, we all need to eat the soup." And you kind of be like, "Excuse me, LPO, but I have a spoon here, which is actually designed to do exactly what we're trying to do, and it can do it much better than anything else that you've handed out so far." The LPO was like, no. Chief always used a fork to eat the soup, so we're going to use a fork, okay? So everybody take your fork, start digging in, and you stand there holding your spoon in your hand, and you're like, but I could use the spoon. And it's a lot faster, and it's literally designed to do what we're trying to do right now.
But nope.
And the LPO is like, no. Chief has always used the fork, so we're going to use the fork. Everybody get in there. So everybody goes in and they grab their fork and they're trying to eat this fucking broth, the soup. And then somebody's like, this isn't working too well. Why don't we try a fucking hammer? Okay. And so, and then you're like, okay, and you just stand there and you're staring at your spoon in hand, and you realize that this is exactly what you've signed on for at least 4 years. This was the feeling that I had when we were ordered to do clamp down in the fucking rain. Now, keep in mind, we're like going through like squall after squall after squall after squall. Okay, and this was on board my first ship. And don't get me wrong, I've had like a lot of weird shit happen. Like, I've sat in Thailand at 12:30 in the morning with the cutest lady boy in the bar on my lap. But even that doesn't equate to just the strange feeling of disassociation that I had when our LPO came out. I was like, you need to go sweep off the deck, to like us, like me and like 5 other junior personnel. And I'm saying, but it's raining. He's like, you go sweep off the deck. I'm like, it's a good one, dude. I appreciate it now, but like, it's actually raining outside. And he's like, no, you need to go sweep off the deck. And I'm like, it's raining. We're going to get soaked, and we're not going to move anything. Are you fucking with us? He's like, no, the chief. And he's like, no, chief wants it swept off. And I'm like, now keep in mind, like, I had just put on first class, like, just like a week before. And I'm like, that's stupid, and we're not going to do it. And he's like, you're going to fucking do it, or I'm going to write you up. And I'm like, okay, write me up. Like, I just wanted to see how far he's really willing to push this, because I'm like, it's pouring down right now. All of our brooms are dry. We're dry. Why don't we just fucking wait until it stops raining? Then we'll go sweep the water off the deck. He's like, I said go get it done now. I'm like, cool, write me up. I'm not gonna do it. That's fucking stupid, and I'm not
Yeah.
going to. I'm not gonna do it, and I'm not gonna tell my guys to do it. And so he was like, all right, well, fine. I'm going back to the office right now, and I'm going to start that calculation. And I'm like, all right, I'll help you out. Like, I'll fill all the important shit in. Don't worry. Okay. And what you don't have on there, I'm going to submit in a response, and then I'm going to route it up to the department
Yeah.
head. Now, like, don't get me wrong, I was really flexing my brand new PO1 muscles at the time, and I normally wouldn't have, but like, I legitimately, like, I opened the door, I looked outside, it's pouring down rain, and I'm like, it's pouring down rain. We're not going to go outside and sweep
But
the
at
fucking
least
deck.
you were flexing your PO power responsibly, not like that dumb fuck that you were talking about earlier.
Right. Well, no. I'm going to get to him. So that was probably the weirdest, like feeling the disassociation, like legitimately want us to go do this. You're not kidding.
Yeah.
You're not joking around. You actually want us to go outside, get soaked, sweeping water off the deck as like we're in a monsoon. Okay. No, we're not going to do that.
And
But
that's the military for you.
no, it is. You're like, and to go back to the old example, I'm sitting there with my fucking spoon, watching everybody else trying to eat the soup with a goddamn fork, and I'm like, this is my life. This is what I've actually volunteered for. And I just have this weird out of body experience. Like, I can't believe that this is an actual thing. Like, it's really confusing to me that this is the reality in which I currently live.
And you signed up for it too.
I did, and I volunteered. That's the weirdest part. I fucking volunteered. Like, no one put a gun against my head. I volunteered to be in a position where I'm being told to eat soup with a goddamn fork. Okay? Or in this case, sweep off a deck while it's torrential. Like, I don't mean it was drizzling. I mean it was like torrential downpour. If it hits you, it's gonna flatten you into the goddamn non-skid kind of downpour. And I'm like, no, this is the dumbest thing I've heard of in my life, and we're not gonna fucking do it. And it got close. Like he actually drafted the whole counseling shit, and I insisted on having the chief and the division officer there, and I was just like, I want you guys here because I like, you really need to hear his justification for
Come,
this.
gentlefolk, witness the stupid.
Well, no. So my chief was initially like, you obeyed a direct order, and I said I obeyed a wrong order,
Yes.
I disobeyed a wrong order that was going to accomplish nothing and do nothing but harm to people in the division. He's like, well, what was going to hurt them about being out in the rain? I'm like, they soak a uniform through. They have to go down and change. They're down a uniform. We overtax ships and laundry. We do like, there's no benefit to it. That was why. But no, my favorite bit about catching people was same ship, same deployment, actually. Yeah. This was about January or so. And keep in mind, I spent like 6 months on Midwatch. Like I spent 6 months living on Blue Monster and fucking Pop-Tarts. It was gross. To this day, I still
know
can't.
that feeling.
I still can't eat fucking Pop-Tarts. I can drink White Monster now. Like, that's okay, but like the Blue Monster, that like low carb Blue Monster shit, I can't. I smell it, I gag. I smell Pop-Tarts, I fucking gag. So like it was about like 12:30 or so. I'd been on watch about an hour and a half. I went down to get some more coffee. I come back up, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with the design of Flight 2 Alpha DDGs, but essentially on the deck where the shop is that I work, right across the P-way from us is forward decon, which forward decon is separated into 3 rooms. Okay, because this is so these are the rooms that you use if you're in like a CBR in environment, okay, and you have to wash off and change and scrub down before you come back into the ship, right? So it's in three essentially like airlock type rooms. Okay. Now we're supposed to keep these ready for use at all times. No one ever fucking does. Everybody always uses them as storage or for shit to stash all of their extra gear or printer paper or whatever. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So I'm coming back and I'm hearing like this boom, 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 boom from inside. And I stop and I'm like, wait, what the fuck is that? So like I'm trying to tune out like all of the air conditioning and the engines and like I put my ear up and I'm hearing so I'm like, what the shit? So I'm like, hold on. So I throw my coffee cup in an angle iron, very carefully open up the outer door. Okay.
Always be careful. Always be careful to stow the coffee.
Always, yes. Because one, that's valuable liquid gold. Two, it's goddamn missile hazardous shit maneuvers. Okay. So like I very carefully opened the outer door and I put my head in and I'm hearing louder sounds at this point. So I go up to the door to the inner to the inner middle chamber and like I guess the best way to describe it is if you take like two really big non-frozen briskets and just started slapping them together. like except it's a thicker, more meaty kind of sound. It's more like a and then the dude is like making a sound like it's a weird cross between like a vacuum cleaner and a walrus. So they're like, and I'm just hearing this like two briskets slapping together kind of sound. Okay, and it's going like really going hammer and tongs, and I'm just like, that's impressive. You know. Meanwhile, the chick is sounding like this weird cross between like a robin with laryngitis and like a squeaky dog's toy. So like, so
I will never hear that sound the same way. Thank you very much.
Well, so I'm hearing like, yeah, here we go. Okay, so I'm hearing like this, like two briskets being slapped together. A train whistle crossed with a walrus. Okay, so I'm like, cool. Boom, 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 boom. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh god! Okay! Oh shit! Oh, I'm like, don't. Like I'm having fun at this point. I pull my flashlight off my belt. I shine it in there. I'm just like gunning it around. I turn on the white lights for the inner chamber, and so I'm like, don't. Oh shit! Oh god! Oh god! So I'm like, all right, sweet. So I go outside to the main P-way because keep in mind there's the first chamber, last chamber, middle chamber. So they can't get out without me seeing them at that point in time. So I'm out in the P-way, and these two come out and they're still like fascinated the fucking belt, like in that thick overalls and shit. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like,
walrus sex noises and frozen brisket. Excellent.
no, not first. It was really thick, meaty sound. Because so
okay, journalistic integrity. Thank you for the clarification.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm like, all right. I stopped and I'm like, so I could do a couple things here. I could wake up the command master at arms, who will wake up the command master chief. It's probably going to wake up the XO. Or you guys can clean this shit. And I mean clean the living shit out of my decon lockers. Okay? Because frankly, at this point in time, I don't want to go in there. So
I wouldn't either.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, I can tell you about it. I'm like, oh. So I'm like, all right, and I knew both of them, so I'm like, all right, wait, right the fuck here. I'm gonna be out. in like 1 minute, if either of you is gone, I'm waking up the XO who is like right here. Okay. And they're like, we're not gonna go anywhere. So like I come back up with like a big ass wad of rags, 2 spray bottles full of stuff, and I'm like, you start over here, you work your way through all three. I want them spotless. And they're like, okay, well, I mean, what are we supposed to do? I'm like, when do you need to report for watch? And like 3 hours, and I'm like, looks like you got 2.5 hours to get the job done. So, so yeah, that was the most interesting time catching people. That was yeah, I'm never gonna get that sound out of my head.
And now, thanks to you sharing that, I won't either.
I'm here for you, dear. You've been friends for a long time. I share whatever I can.
All right. Well, it looks like we're running a bit long on time. So,
It's been about hour 20, an hour and a half at this point. Yeah.
yeah.
But
So,
I mean,
yes,
it's time though.
as y'all can tell, though, we could go on like this for a while. There's a lot of material to go with.
Briskets.
Walrus sex noises.
And she's over here.
Which, one of the things that anybody who has gone through that language school in Monterey is familiar with, that school is up on a hill, and you get a very clear view of the bay, of the Monterey Bay, and you can also, first thing in the morning, you hear the seals that are like out on the rocks, and I'm talking actual animal seals, not like the seals that come through for language training, although we did have those as well.
Down in San Diego is where we have the other seals here. So
I could tell quite a few interesting stories about BM1 Beck, but I won't for now. But now I will never think of those noises. The And for everybody who's listening, what can I say except you're welcome?
Suffer through it. It's only fair that you do as well, even if it's like 10 years after the fact.
So yes, that is life in the Navy. So
worst, weirdest. Having to eat soup with a fucking fork, that's yeah, just sitting there with room looking at a monsoon coming down and legitimately being ordered to go out there and sweep the water off the deck. It's like,
no. So I think I will go ahead and wrap us up. Thank you very much for your time. I know that folks do enjoy hearing the stories that you have, and hopefully they will enjoy these too.
Thank
you very much.
I am always the exhibitionist, sweetie. You know that. So, hey, have a great night, and I'll talk to you offline. All right.
All right.